Have you ever been in a meeting that felt, well, like a performance? Today, we're diving into something you might know all too well: the big, elaborate, and often frustrating dance of corporate design. So, let's get ready to hit the dance floor.
It almost always kicks off from a really good place. Some executive reads a book or goes to a conference and gets inspired. They come back and say, we need to be more user-centered. But just as this quote says, what happens next is often less of a real change and, well, more of a show. The charade begins.
And that's the real head-scratcher, isn't it? Why do these huge companies spend so much time and money learning all the moves, all the steps of innovation, just to end up right back where they started? Let's figure out why this performance almost always gets a bad review. Okay, so to get to the bottom of this, we first have to look at the performance itself. We'll call it the design charade, where everybody learns the choreography, but the music never really changes. And look, if you're a designer out there working in a big company, I'm willing to bet this all sounds painfully familiar. It's this routine you've been through a million times, a play that starts the minute you're hired. The steps are always the same, aren't they? First, you have the big workshop. Everyone's there. The energy is high. It feels super collaborative. Then, the brainstorm. Sticky notes everywhere, covering every single wall. Step 3, the all-important photo op, so everyone can see that design thinking is happening. And then, step 4, the great evaporation. All that energy, all those brilliant ideas, they just vanish into thin air. And this right here is the absolute heart of the problem. The company goes through all the motions, the rituals of design, but it never gives design any real authority. It's like hiring a world-class dance instructor, but then telling them they have zero say in the final performance. It just doesn't work. So why? Why does this happen over and over again? Well, to understand that, we have to look past the dancers and the fancy steps. We need to look at the hidden rules of the dance hall itself. We need to talk about structural power. Because let's be honest, in these big, complicated companies, the best idea doesn't always win. The most user-friendly approach doesn't always get built. It usually just boils down to one simple, brutal question: who in the room actually gets to make the call? And that brings us to this crucial idea: veto power. See, real influence isn't about having good ideas. It's about having the structural authority to stop something from happening. It's the power to just say, nope, and everything grinds to a halt. But here's the thing. Not all vetoes are created equal. We have to look at the huge difference between what's called a hard veto and a soft veto. This is where the real power imbalance just slaps you in the face. This is it right here. On one side, you've got the developer's hard veto. It's like a brick wall. When they say that's not technically possible, the conversation is over. Done. Project stopped. But on the other side, you have the designer's soft veto. They can say, hey, this is a really bad user experience. And what happens? You get a polite nod and yeah, great point. We'll fix it in phase 2. A phase 2 that, never actually comes. And you can imagine what this does to people. Smart, talented designers, they know what's up. They can feel the difference between being a key player who shapes the product and just being, window dressing. They know when they're actually choreographing the dance versus just being part of the set design. So this dynamic usually leads to one of 3 pretty awful outcomes. First, the designer fights. They try to prove their value, they create more slide decks, they argue their case. When that doesn't work, they leave. They go find a company where their skills actually matter. Or, and this one is maybe the saddest of all, they stay, but they check out. They just start going through the motions, collecting a paycheck, and becoming another participant in the charade. All right, so is it all just doom and gloom? Is there no way to fix this? Absolutely not. But you can't just try to dance harder. You have to fundamentally change the choreography of the whole organization. And let's be 100% clear on this. The solution is not another workshop. It's not more sticky notes. You can't fix a broken dance by just practicing the same bad moves with more enthusiasm. No, the real fix has to be structural. It's not about making small tweaks. It's about rebuilding the foundation. It's about changing the rules of the dance floor itself. So what does real structural power actually look like? Well, it's not fuzzy stuff. It means designers have explicit decision rights over the user experience. It means they have the authority to actually block a release if it's a disaster for users, a real hard veto. It means having a permanent seat at the leadership table where the actual strategy gets decided, not just being invited in to present some findings. And yeah, it means reporting to people who have real influence, so their insights can't just be ignored. And here's the final crucial point to remember. When an engineer picks a technology that limits what the interface can do, That's a design decision. When a product manager cuts a feature to hit a deadline, that's a design decision. The dance is always happening. The only question is, do you have a professional choreographer leading it, or is everyone just out there flailing around on their own?
So think about your own workplace. Is it just going through the motions, performing that same comfortable dance of innovation theater? Or is it actually ready to do the hard work, ready to change the music, rewire the power structure, and finally let design take the lead?